this meeting of the Centennial School Board is now called to order. All right. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today? Do we need that today?
It's a training, so we don't really need an agenda approved. And I'm sorry I'm not on camera. My internet is what's called unstable, as it's telling me and flashing at me. We had power outage here at the house, and I'm trying to get my systems back up and running. So when I
No worries.
stop getting that signal, I'll put my camera on.
Also, sorry, I didn't look in board book, and I didn't even see the agenda. I didn't know there was one posted. I'm assuming that it doesn't say much.
It's just the training.
Right. So I don't feel comfortable motioning anyway, so.
Okay. I'll let you take it, Vince, unless there's any other.
Yeah, I just want to maybe consider waiting at least until we get Vice Chair Fuller, and I think we're missing Heath Curry as well. And so I just I know that we deferred our last session because we were missing a couple people. So I was just wondering if we want to wait a little bit. And I know that we're having trouble going live and streaming, and that's important, although you have allowed virtual access to the webinar. So people who want to show up can. And Pamela, I can confirm that, yeah, it doesn't look like you're streaming live to YouTube right now.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's you guys' meeting. I don't know if I would wait till I get this sorted out.
I mean, by the letter of the law, you've met the requirement because you allow virtual access into the webinar. And so I think in that respect, you're fine.
Okay. And it is being recorded, and it will be posted. So where it's streaming to, I don't know, but it's not our channel.
Okay. So what would board members like to do? Would you like to wait a couple minutes, or would you like to proceed?
Let's wait 5 minutes, and then I'll reach out and see how long things will be for folks.
I mean, I do have it isn't necessarily generating content, but I do have a little bit of an icebreaker that we can do in the meantime if you want to do that.
That sounds wonderful.
Perfect. Okay. So, well, logistics aside, thank you so much for having me back. It's good to be back with the Centennial Board and to see all your faces and to be doing this work with you. So I'm really excited. We're going to be working on, this is going to be a really formative process. We are going to be generating what will be raw material for a board operating agreement and a board superintendent operating agreement. So I'm going to be asking you these really hard questions, and you're going to get a few minutes to reflect, and then you're going to report out. We're going to record that information, and I'm going to be doing that in a platform called Mural. So imagine a whiteboard on the interwebs, and that's where I'll be recording this information. It's a pretty handy tool for if you have to do virtual facilitation. So, so let's make sure I can share my screen. Pressing, Pamela, may I please have screen sharing permission?
Yes, there you go.
Thank you. All right, and so I'm going to share my screen, and so you should be seeing a big white screen. Now I need to reconfigure my view here so I can see all of you. And can someone give me a nod or a thumbs up that you're seeing my screen? Awesome, thank you. Okay, so this exercise is called What's on Your Plate? So I want you to take 3 minutes, and you know what? Everybody on the screen can participate. Totally fine. So yeah, just grab a piece of paper and something to write with. And for 3 minutes, I'm gonna put a timer up. Just write down everything that you are doing. So all your activities, responsibilities, interests, whatever you're currently involved in. I get that this doesn't really work that great because of the pandemic, but just start jotting those down. We're going to take 3 minutes to do that. So starting now.
Yes. Personal or board?
Everything.
Oh, God.
Anything you're doing. If you're excited about that trip to Hawaii, I'm looking at Jess's background, that trip to Hawaii, put it down. Anything that's going on in your life. Including board work, of course. If you're going to a conference or whatever it is. Maybe it's something you have to do. Like this weekend, I have to go to the coast and do some work on a remodel. You got about 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. Still plenty of time. Anything that's coming up. One of the things, if I was doing this, one of the things that would be on my list is that my daughter put that we have to play Minecraft this weekend on my calendar. She's serious about Minecraft. Right, 30 seconds remaining. Right, and time is up. All right, next step in this process is I want you to, so you're going to mark some things on your list here. So you're going to put a check mark by the thing that energizes you the most. Let me zoom in here so this is a little bit easier for you folks to see this. So the thing that energizes you most, put a check mark. The thing that you enjoy the most, the thing you're looking forward to, like Minecraft this weekend, put a happy face next to that. The thing that takes up most of your time, what's eating up your time? Put a clock. I don't know. Yeah, some sort of clock icon there. Put the star next to the thing that you wish you could be doing more. For me, it would just be sitting at home reading quietly, something relaxing. And then put an X beside the item that you could do without, like ripping carpet out of a house. Not fun. I'll let that sit up there for a few more seconds. When I see eyeballs looking at me, then I'll know that you guys are done. All right, everybody good? All right, the next step is reporting out on these. And that's the next step. I have like a thing for that. I can say report out, but I'm going to leave these up because maybe not everybody's done. So who would like to go first? What are the just run this list. What energizes you most? Happy thing. And yeah, just run that list. Maybe, yeah. Who would like to go through their 5 items here?
I'll get the ball rolling.
Thanks, Jess. What energizes you?
So I'm going away to the beach this weekend, going to Pacific City with a bunch of friends.
Nice.
So that actually got my check mark and my happy face.
Nice.
My clock was, so I buy organic produce for a living. That's my job.
Yep.
So, and that takes a whole bunch of my time because there's a lot of transitions going on right now. That's my clock. My stars, there's a bunch of stars. Disc golf in my personal life. In the Centennial Youth Coalition, that's a star. Meadows, the PTO group that we have there, which is having their first live meeting tonight in person, that's a star. And then today I pushed around this thing they have at the high school called the Caring Cart. It's for all the staff and it has like snacks and water and lotions and stuff. So I went to the high school today, spent about an hour and 15 minutes this afternoon pushing around for the staff to just, it's all donated stuff and CEA's getting some money. And so that was fun. I wish I could do that more often. And then my X is I'm doing a kitchen remodel. And
oh, I feel you, buddy.
yeah, it'll be great when it's over.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Jess. Okay, who's next? I have a list. I will.
I'll jump in there.
Thanks, David.
Yeah, not too much that I actually checked on. But I am building an outdoor table today, getting ready for the spring, because I spend most of my time out in my backyard. So that got my check and my happy face, because I love working with my hands and just building stuff and kind of putting everything else out of my mind, like the news. Been doing a lot of meetings, not just the board, but neighborhood association, emergency neighborhood team. I think I need to dial some back. It's taking up a lot of my time outside, other than my work. And an example of that I could do without is giving testimony on legislative stuff. This is usually the time when I get really frustrated with the legislature because so many good bills are dying, and so many weird things like gutting a bill and stuffing it with something that hasn't had a public hearing. That sort of stuff happens. So I could probably do without that because it's like sometimes it feels like you're just beating your head against a wall. So yeah, I guess I'm going to help my brother and my uncle both move into new houses here soon. So that'll be fun. So
great.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, David. Okay, who's next?
Go.
Okay, Rose.
Gardening, spending time in my yard is what energizes me the most. It was a lovely month of February where it was so sunny and nice. So that was lovely. I'm really excited for baseball season to start. Today is the last day of tryouts for the high school baseball team, and my son is hoping to get a spot on a team, and so I'm really excited. I love watching him play. Work, my day job, takes up the most of my time. So while we were starting, my daughter came in here and was like, when can we go to Oaks Park? I want to do that. I want to go to Oaks Park. And so I was like, well, that's kind of, I put a star by that. And then also book club reading. I just wish that I had more time to do that. I'm falling behind on my books. And I wrote something pretty specific for X that is a tad confidential. So I'll just say HR processes that I have to manage in my day job. You know, we'll just leave it at that.
Completely understand. And we'll keep a good thought for your son.
Thanks.
Fingers crossed. All right. Thank you, Rose. Okay, who haven't I heard from? We heard from David. He's not here. Okay, Claudia, you're next on my list.
I actually unmuted before you said my name.
Oh,
So
good.
mine's kind of a little bit of a Debbie Downer, so I didn't want to go first, but so the item that energizes me the most, I've been spending a lot of time volunteering at the Gresham Historical Society. So that's,
Yeah.
sometimes though, it's a little bit much and it kind of stresses me out too. So it's a little too much right now. What do I enjoy the most? Like Rose, I have a happy face next to yard work. Yesterday we had 2 large trees cut down and all of the limbs chipped, and we have a mountain of chips in our yard that need to be moved around. So it's one of those things that I'm looking forward to doing, but it's going to be quite the task. Let's see, clock for the, so my mom had a heart attack about 10 days ago.
No.
And so that has been taking up most of my time for the last 10 days. She spent, I think, 5 days in the hospital. And sadly, you can only have 1 visitor for your entire time in the hospital. It used to be you could have 1 visitor per day, but now it's 1 visitor for the entire time. And that was me. And I was exhausted after spending 6 days with her going through procedures and other things. And but gladly she's home now, and that still takes up a lot of my time. Star by the item which you could wish you could spend more time doing. I too put reading, and I also put yard work on both of those. I don't seem to have quite enough time to do the things I really like to do. X is next to the things I could do without. Well, nobody yet has mentioned taxes. So that's one of the things that I've been working on lately that I could do without entirely. Okay. And then the other things that unfortunately take up a little bit of my energy is worrying about the Russia-Ukraine situation. And that's kind of usurping my worry over the COVID situation. So they're kind of balancing back and forth. Anyway, I put X's next to both of those. That's it.
Thank you, Claudia. And we'll keep very kind thoughts for your mom. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that is so hard. Okay, I gotta go back to my list here. Claudia. Pam Shields.
Hold on. Okay, found the unmute button. Onesies and twosies are together there. The item that energizes me the most in happy faces, teaching. It's what I really have always enjoyed doing and continue to enjoy. And taking care of the 2-year-old, even though I'm taking care of her because, you know, she's got a runny nose and can't go to daycare, but you know, it's okay. I'd rather do that than some of the other things that I have on the list. The things that are just taking up a lot of time. I love the teaching part. I don't like the grading part of my job, but I do want to get that done. And we're planning a baby shower, which is both virtual and in person in 2 different locations because of, you know, we're still dealing with a little bit of COVID. So that's kind of been an interesting challenge. The start items that I spend more time doing, I would like to spend more time doing things for our river house that we have on the Silettes, attending concerts and musicals and things of that nature, which we keep putting on the back burner. And a recent one is organizing all of the pictures we took at Yellowstone, where we were last week. The things that I could do without, for sure, are the mundane things. Grooming the dogs. I have 2 American Eskimos. They're fluffy and they always need grooming. Cleaning the house, laundry. I have taxes down here, Claudia, because I was told to get my act together and get my stuff, to the hubby. I need to do some mandatory compliance training for the college, and I have to complete the boating course, or I'm not going to get my wave runner out this summer. So those are the things that are things I could do without. That's it.
All right. Thanks, Pam. All right. Tasha, I couldn't tell if you were doing this exercise with us or not.
I did.
Good.
Oh gosh. Well, I have running is on my list. This isn't necessarily an order of importance. I'm a runner. I like to run marathons, half marathons, and that energizes me quite a bit. I spend most of my time working. It's 10 to 15 hour days. By the time I get home, I'm a little tired. So the running takes the back burner. So I'd like to balance that a little bit more. Visiting my adult kids and friends really energizes me. I'm planning a trip home. Obviously I enjoy that. I want to see my family at home. And then I am really into music, going to concerts, going to museums, really am a person who enjoys supporting arts, performance, visual, etc. And I just came back from the Frida Kahlo Museum exhibit and loved it. And I'm now buying a series of tickets for musical concerts. And so I wish I could spend more time doing that. It energizes me. And I don't know if I enjoy it the most, but I highly enjoy it. That's it.
Thank you, Tasha. Pamela Jordan, did you do our exercise? Or are you working too hard behind the scenes?
Oh, I'm working behind the scenes. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm about to give up. So anyway, no, I have not done your exercise, but thank you for asking.
No. Okay. Superintendent Owens, what's on your list?
All right. So I got really specific about the things I was doing at work. So I'll try to steer clear of that. But things that energize me, because I don't follow rules on activities like this very well, so it'll be plural. Dog walks. We've got 2 dogs, and so that's always a activity that I enjoy, taking the dogs for a walk with my wife, Nicole. We have an RV that we bought. It's 20 years old, but it only has about 13,000 miles on it, and so we're updating it, and so that's been a fun project the last year or so. It's nearing completion, but there's always something else you can tinker with on it. We're planning a trip in the RV to Crescent City. I think it's a similar trip that Pam Shields took recently. And so we're planning to do that for spring break. So we're looking forward to that. Thing that takes up most of my time is email. The thing I can do without is email.
Right.
Thing I could also do without is managing COVID protocols for the district.
Oh, amen.
And then item I could spend more time doing is walking the dog and working. I heard yard work. We have a couple of acres where I live. And so there's always a yard project to do. And sometimes when I'm getting overwhelmed with just being busy, I look out there at the things that are getting out of control and really wish that I could get out there and attend to them. So far this year, I've been able to stay on top of most of what needs to be prepped for the spring. So I'm feeling pretty decent about that.
Great. All right. Thanks for sharing, everybody. I think we're all warmed up and ready to roll. Good. Okay. So.
Oh, I just came in. Sorry.
Hey, Erica. Okay. So yeah, Erica, that's right. You came in the middle of the exercise, and I don't know if you have a list or if you kind of you were able to.
I've been working as people were talking, of course, I was
Great.
writing down my stuff.
What's on your list?
Yeah. So the check item that energizes me the most is just knowing that I'm making a difference through youth's lives as I'm working on an amazing project here in East County about creating a more transparent process when it comes to the budgeting process out here. And so that was through ARPA funds that were allocated by our senator and House representatives, and I'm really excited about that. And then for the happy face next to the item I enjoy the most is taking a break and watching stand-up comedies. I always enjoy, having a nice self-care break before different things. And I am enjoying Eliza, the elder millennial, which is really important because I'm a millennial. So it's good to laugh about our situation and all that stuff. And so clock for the time, which takes up most of my time right now. I'm working on a healing event here in Portland with the ACLU of Oregon and a couple of other leaders that are also in this, women of color leaders, which I'm really excited about. I wish I could sleep more in terms of a star, that the item that I wish I could spend more time doing, and read, because I miss reading. I enjoy reading as well too. And then the last one is I would like to put an X besides the item that I can do without, which is I feel like we could all do without these small fires that are happening everywhere, including like the one in the Ukraine and Russia incident, the COVID, which I'm sure it looks like it's coming to an end sooner than later. But also, I would also have to agree with Claudia, taxes. That would be nice too. Thank you.
I'm right there with you. I'm ready to be done living history. Yeah. So, okay. Thanks, Erica. Okay, so let's get some work done. Okay. Let's see. So just an overview of what we're talking about here. So, what are these operating agreement things? What do we do with them, and what are they, and why do we have them? And so really these are documents, and they're agreements between the parties in the room. We've all walked into a meeting, and the facilitator took 5 minutes to establish norms for the meeting, right? So we've all gone through that process. Kind of essentially what it is. That's what we're going to work on for the next couple sessions, is establishing what your norms and how you folks want to work together, and just writing that out in a structured way. You can think of these as a way to focus our attention, because the reality is that every board, even the most effective boards, have stuff that they're working on. Look, we're humans. No one's perfect. So, we're all have stuff that we work on. So that's what these documents do, is they draw our attention to those things that we want to work on so we can improve our practice. And so that's really what the purpose is. The when really is you use these when you need them. If something comes up, we reorient ourselves to our operating agreements. If, they're good for a recalibration tool, we want to be checking in frequently. So we don't want to get really out of alignment, where we're having really, hard disagreements. We want to be recalibrating all the time. So, these are a touchstone that we can come back to help us, make sure that we're meeting each other's expectations. So typically boards will renew their operating agreements at the beginning of the school year. So usually, in a retreat. So they'll do it in their summer retreat, or they'll do it in their operational meeting, the one that we have to get done before July 30th every year. Sometimes they'll just come back to the document, take a look at it. If something needs to be changed, go ahead and make that adjustment. Maybe you're really successful on a particular part of the operating agreement. You want to just let that go and bring something else onto it. So so it becomes a rhythmic process for the board every year, coming back to the operating agreements, renewing those agreements, and then using those as a touchstone throughout the year. Any questions about operating agreements, what they are, why we have them? Hearing none. So another thing about these operating agreements are just, similar to handbooks. They are an interpretation of existing policy. And so they have to be compliant with policy and statute and all the things. We can't write something in an operating agreement that violates, policy. We wouldn't want to do that. So they draw our attention to those particular provisions within policy and statute that we really want to adhere to. So one of the most important ones is policy BBF. And so policy BBF is your expectations, you as a board, these are your expectations for each other. Now, I want to draw the board's attention to the date up here in the upper right-hand corner. Policy BBF, your policy BBF was last adopted 9 years ago. So, well, yeah, September, a little over 9 years ago. So this is something that you'll probably want to come back to and take a look at. And I know it looks like, a plate of macaroni and cheese because it's all highlighted here, but I want to go stepwise through this and just touch on a few themes here that are really important in this policy. So, first and foremost, as board members, we have to comply with ethics laws. This means that we're not going to materially benefit from our position. So you'll see it mentioned here, and then down here, individual board members and the board as a public entity subscribe to ethics laws for public officials provided in state law. That's really about we personally don't want to benefit either through contracts or gifts, or we don't want people who are close to us to benefit by virtue of our position as part of the governing body for the school district. Next one here, this is really the mention of behavioral, what we expect from each other, that we're going to conduct our work with dignity and courtesy, and we're going to provide an opportunity for all parties to be heard with due respect. And then I drew a scribbled line down here to mentions of social media as well, that it's not just in the boardroom when we're doing that, but it's when we're out in public, and it's when we're in the virtual space as well. On social media, we're going to treat fellow board members, staff, students, and the public with respect, when we're going to post on websites. So whenever we're posting in social media, we want to make sure that discourse is positive, reflects well on the district, and reflects well on our colleagues. So there should never be surprises. And we always want to lift people up. We clear our differences in private, and then, in public, we're always supporting the institution. Okay, this next one here, we recognize the superintendent as the executive officer, and that the superintendent is tasked with implementation of board policy. So the board sets its expectations and policy, and it is incumbent on the superintendent to go ahead and execute on those. And that is how the board operationalizes their expectations, is through the superintendent. Board members have the right to express personal opinions. You are all sovereign individuals and have First Amendment rights. When expressing such opinions in the public, the board member should clearly identify their opinions as personal. Now, the chair is somewhat of an exception here, because when the board chair speaks publicly, there is an expectation that they're speaking on behalf of the board. So that's one of the drawbacks of being a board chair, is you have to set yourself aside somewhat, so we don't get to talk and share our own opinions. We're really speaking on behalf of the board when we're out in public. Board members will respect the privacy rights of individuals. This is all about confidentiality. So privacy rights of individuals, and with regards to confidential information gained through association with the district, you're going to become exposed to confidential information about staff and maybe learn about confidential information about students. Those things absolutely must always remain confidential. The only exception is if you are having a hearing and the subject of that hearing has chosen to have a public hearing, in which case it's public. But conversely, you know, here a board member will keep information discussed in executive session confidential. It's absolutely essential. Okay. Any questions about policy BBF? It would be my recommendation that the board consider taking this policy up. One of the things there's, you know, these policies are really very widely from district to district, and they're really grounded in the history and, dare I say, trauma of the board. You know, the disagreements that have arose over time, they find their way into policy. And so this would be important work for the board to do, is just go back and take a look at this. OSBA has an updated draft. But like I said, these are your expectations for yourselves. Vince, the school board trainer, is not going to parachute into your meeting if you violate this policy. You hold yourselves accountable to this policy. Okay.
Benson,
Yeah.
question. So are you saying that board policies, the B policies, if you will, we're allowed more flexibility in terms of what their content is, because we subscribe to this service, we get updates to policies all the time with, suggestions, recommendations, and, you better do it type of, so, and this board has on occasion footnoted those, highly recommended to maybe reflect something that Centennial has been found important or wants to emphasize. But the B levels, are these as OSBA as involved in these policies as they are with the others?
That is really policy specific. So OSBA has 3 categories for policies. There's optional, recommended, and required. The required ones is if you don't do it, then you're going to probably be violating a law if you do that. Recommended is, yeah, there's a law there, you probably should do it. It reduces your risk if you have this policy. Optional is one of those ones where it varies. That said, OSBA always is creating policy or template policies for the whole state. So they're by nature generic. And so it's incumbent on the board to customize that policy for your community. And so they are fully prepared to have that dialogue with your staff as the board offers, parameters for changes in these policies to make them fit your community. They're ready to change that. Now, I would say that policy BBF specifically has broad latitude for change because it really just depends on what your expectations are for each other. There's not a lot of statute that are required in here or that require language in here. Whereas other policies in the B section definitely have a lot of policies or a lot of statute controlling that content. So it's going to vary from policy to policy.
And
Did that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. Just one more question then about that. Board policies are often accompanied by administrative, ARs, administrative.
Yep.
Is there a correlation between the board operating agreement and an AR? And why don't we use ARs for board policies, these types of board policies? Why do we use operating agreement?
Question. Yeah, because board operating agreements or operating agreements don't really read, they don't function like an AR, although they are operational in nature. So they are akin to it. That's a really good question. And I don't clearly know the answer to that one. I would have to go back to the policy team and say, hey, why don't we just create an AR for, around these on policy VBF, because a lot of what we're going to have in the operating agreement stems out of that. So that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one. Because we've always done it this way and we never thought differently. Probably, I'll be honest. Okay, any other questions about policy? Awesome. Okay, so this is like my favorite prompt of all the work that I do. This is one of my favorite prompts. Okay, so I want you to just step back and imagine the perfect school board meeting for your board. To step back, what does that look like? What happens? What was on the agenda? How do people interact? How is the public involved? How did they behave? All of it. I want you to just think about qualitatively, what does that meeting look like? And I'm actually going to put, because we've taken quite a bit of time, I'm going to put 6 minutes up. And I just want you to sit with that and just start writing down qualities of the perfect school board meeting for your board. Okay. And then we'll come back, we'll capture that. Say if the group doesn't need a full 6 minutes, if you're looking up at me and staring into the camera, I'll know that you're done. Or if you're tapping, you're looking bored. Okay. All right, coming up on 1 minute remaining. Looks like I've got eyes up. David and Eric, are you good to go? You need more-
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Then we will stop the timer. All right. We can do this popcorn style. Who would like to go first? And then I think as we go along, if someone's already has something, has already mentioned something that you thought of, then we can put asterisks on them and to show weight on these. But yeah, who would like to go first?
I can go.
Thanks, Jess.
Do you want me just to list one thing or all of them? You want me to-
One thing at a time, because I'm going to be trying to capture it. Okay.
Okay. Student engagement, celebration, awards, you know, some sort of celebration of the kids.
Got it. Okay. What else?
The next one I have is focus on 3 policies or 3 topics that need to be addressed, and actually take the time to discuss them as a group respectfully and discussing all the angles and the impacts together.
Really just go deep.
Yes,
Got it.
well said.
Okay, I'm going to change up my approach. I'm gonna take 2 from you, and then I'm just going to work my way around. So I see Claudia, you're next. So give me 2 items that are on your list.
Okay, I kind of started pre-meeting, and one was, let me see if I can consolidate it. The information is out well enough in advance for board members to thoroughly review. And then the second one is board members do any research necessary, you know, contacting staff, whatever, ahead of time, so that the topics can be a rich discussion.
Great, thank you. Okay, Rose, you're next on my list.
I think that the meeting will start and end on time.
Love it. Yep.
And then see oppositional views as potential for reflection or growth.
Opportunity for growth. Great. All right. Pam Shields.
Okay, some of my things have sort of been spoken to. One was that meetings that Rose mentioned start on, stop on time, but that everybody is there. So everyone is in attendance at these meetings. That would be the perfect board meeting, obviously. But also like to see that everyone stays for the entire meeting as well, and that might be part of the same statement.
Yep.
And that I'd like to see everyone speaking to each of the items on the agenda.
Great. Okay, Pam, James, how about you?
My computer crashed. Is the prompt just to go through the list, or were we supposed to prioritize the list?
Well, no, I'm just grabbing 2 from each person, then I'll come back around.
Yeah, so I would add to that there would be, I don't know how to word this, but crisp facilitation. Which would, I could tease that out further, but just in terms of being able to work through the agenda, and then also in terms of being able to tie viewpoints together in a way that moves the conversation forward in a productive path.
Great, thank you.
I would add to the student engagement piece, just overall student voice in terms of, there's the student report, but any way to incorporate student voice is, I think, important.
I will include that as a separate one because it's super important. All right, David Lynn, you're up next.
Well, yeah, so much has been covered. I would definitely say respect, a respectful tone to the meeting is very important. And in that kind of same vein, and kind of also, as James said, meeting well facilitated and conducted, people being respectful of people's times, so that, again, yeah, people are prepared, people speak to the issue, and we don't have a lot of like side banter or stuff that might push other important issues out of the meeting time.
Got it. I think I put that down. Members' time is respected and it results in an efficient meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and Erica Fuller.
All right. So I have 2. One is we work on resolutions as well as helping to better the community as we work on creating real solutions, and to think outside the box while also working with our community in collaboration. That's something that I feel that we need to do. And then the last one is we come to the table with an open mind and an open heart and a can-do attitude, that we will be transparent with one another and hold each other accountable with respect and love.
I reduced that down to respect, transparency, and love. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Jess, I'm going to come back around to you. Is there anything that you have that isn't up here already, or any asterisks you want to add? And while I have this, I can get this outline out of the way and make this bigger so you guys can see it. And I don't need that.
Muted. One of the things I have on here that isn't on there is public comment or public engagement, public feedback, hearing from the community. I think that's who we serve, the community and the students. So hearing from them is a valuable thing.
Okay. I took that as public engagement happens. So some sort of public engagement. Okay. I see a nodding head. That's good. Anything else? Any asterisks you want to add? Okay. And then I'm coming back to Claudia. Is there anything missing that needs to be up here?
No, but I'm going to add an asterisk on start and end on time. And then particularly the part that David said, well, is the one member's time is respected and the meeting is efficient.
Yeah. Okay. There's that. Thank you. Rose, anything that missing here?
I would add an asterisk on to student voice.
Okay.
And then,
oh, no, yeah, go for it.
there's one I'm chewing on, and I think it's stuff I'm starting to already learn the hard way, but maybe no surprises.
That's an important one. Pam Shields. What's missing here? Or what do you want to emphasize?
Probably the preparation part. Just wherever that one is, I'm not sure. I
I'm
know we
looking
have it.
for it. Remember?
I know.
Here it is.
Yeah, yeah. There's always so much that we're trying to get through. I don't believe we've had an agenda that has anything really frivolous on it, but that also means that we really have to be well prepared. So that's just something that's always been important.
Well, you just said something that's really important, that agenda items aren't frivolous, that the agenda is focused. I'm trying to find words. I'm just going to say no frivolous agenda items.
Could you maybe even add to that, Vince, because you've prompted a thought. There are, I'm going to ramble here so you can then put it into appropriate box. There's a lot of things that are around us that influence us, but we have a very specific task as a school board. Some things that we can do, some things that we can't do, because it's just not within our perusal, our bailiwick, or whatever way you want to explain that. And I think that that's something that maybe we need additional training on. What is it that we can influence? And then what is it that's maybe aspirational, but not really within our ability to affect?
I took that as the board recognizes its role and function. And I could say remains focused or actively remains focused. Thank you. I really appreciate those. James, what are we missing? Is there anything you want to emphasize? Cute cat.
Yeah, thanks. She's really into the Zoom tonight. So I would just I was thinking about the actual function of the meeting when we were in it, and then I started to think about the ingredients that went into the meeting going well. And so I was reflecting on that the items on the agenda reflect board input and interest, so that the agenda that we're crafting incorporates the board's voice in what's being brought forward. And then also related, but maybe different, is the agenda reflects collaboration between the board officers and the executive leadership team.
Great. Good stuff. Okay, David Lynn, what's missing and what needs to be emphasized here?
I would just emphasize public engagement, and hopefully it's meaningful, and hopefully it can be, people can bring really good ideas that help us alter some things in a good way.
Thank you for that bit about being meaningful. Erica Fuller.
Yes. So I would emphasize no surprises. I would emphasize respectful tone and student voice, as well as public engagement.
As well as public engagement. Sorry, trying to keep up. Here we go.
No,
There we
you're
go.
fine.
Great. Okay, last call. Anything missing here? I want to keep us moving.
I would just add, I think that there's quite a bit here as far as structure. And then I'm thinking about the actual purpose of our organization being student achievement and growth. And so how that's reflected in terms of, you know, what we pay attention to is, you know, what, you know, the concept of whatever is important is what we monitor. So the board's work is focused on student growth and achievement.
Yep.
And, you know, I think also maybe alongside that is that agenda topics reflect the establishment and monitoring of the district's strategic plan.
A long day when the spelling goes out the window. All right, wonderful, thank you. Okay, next one. So I want you to think about your meetings as they are. What's effective? What's good about them? So these are the positives, and you're only gonna get 2 minutes to jot things down. So here we go, 2 minutes. What's working, or how are your meetings effective? Coming up on halfway, minute remaining. Thirty seconds, get those final thoughts down. All right, time's up. And I'm going to start with Jess again.
This was a little bit harder of a one for me. The
All I need
things,
is 1 or 2 things. That's all.
yeah, what I put down is in our board meetings, we cover a lot of topics, especially the last couple of years. There's a lot going on, and I feel that we go over a lot of things. And I feel as our group, we respectfully share our opinions. I personally feel that. I feel comfortable in voicing my opinion no matter what it is with this group of people. And I think I'm very comfortable with all of you and view you as an extension of family. So I think that's a good thing to have.
Great, thank you, Jess. Claudia, what's working?
The meetings are pertinent and timely, or the agenda items are pertinent and timely. And let's see, God, I can't. So, and the meeting agendas are, not the agendas, the topics are structured and focused.
Thank you, Claudia. Rose.
Yes, I think getting the advance agendas in time to do that, the prep work. I see that happening.
Packet goes out early enough to allow members to prep. Great.
And the level of engagement, like all our board members are very engaged and participating in conversations.
Great. Pam, what do you have? What's working?
I have the format that our superintendent is using to keep us informed on all of the exchanging topics. It just is an amazing amount of work that he puts into his presentations, and then he follows up with a written record of that presentation on the Fridays. I think that's working well. That the important topics do get moved on the agenda to an appropriate place. We sometimes have an agenda where something's come up and we've had to move something, right? Because it's like raised its head that we have to get something done, and we've been able to be flexible with our agendas enough so that we're getting the most important topics discussed before we move on, or sometimes have to move them to a different meeting. And it's that flexibility has been important, because gosh, we have to live in a flexible world right now. And maybe we won't have to be so controlled by outside influences, but I think our board does a good job of flexing when we are being pressed by something that's come up that we didn't anticipate.
Great. Thank you. James.
Yeah, so I think it'll be a little bit more than just ideas, so you'll have to kind of pick the nuggets out of what I share here. But I would just say that recognizing that the board acts as a body, but then considering the inputs that go into it, just the quality of each individual that's here on the board and what they bring to the table. To a person, the experiences, background, business experience, advocacy experience. There's just a lot of quality that's being brought to the table in terms of what the value that's being put into it. So I think those inputs are important. And then that brings with it a diversity of perspectives. And I think to Jess's point, I feel like the board can offer a diversity of viewpoints, and those viewpoints may differ, but they're respectfully shared and responded to. I think that the individual board member experiences lead to creative ideas. As the administration, we bring something forward, but more and more when we bring something forward, I'm confident that the group process will help enhance what we brought. So I think, we bring a recommendation, but the board does a really good job of capitalizing on that and making it even better. And then another thing I would say is that I feel like the board not just this year, but in previous years, is doing a really effective job of carrying the important work forward as a district. And so there's a theme of, I'll give a couple examples. We were in a precarious position with our fund balance not too long ago. And by focused, intentional work that has taken multiple meetings and years, we're in a much different position. And so that requires effectiveness, not just at one board meeting, but having a real vision for what needs to be accomplished over a number of meetings and years, to make sure that we're getting to the goals where we want to be. Another example would, be the long range facility planning, turning into the bond, turning into, developing those projects. And so it's been fun to see those things materialize over the course of several years. That really creates a theme and a thread for the experience that we're having collectively. And then you can see tangible results that are benefiting students, which is really exciting to see how the work that we're doing at this table is having positive impacts and lasting legacies for kids that, will be here for decades to come.
So I captured all of that in 4 notes here. Members have a broad array of experience and viewpoints. Diversity of the board supports group creativity. The board is effective in carrying forward important tasks and getting positive outcomes, and that board work is positively impacting student outcomes. Kind of just distilling that down.
Well done. Thank you.
Yeah. David Lynn, what's working in your meetings?
Yeah, so much has already been said. We do have an engaged board. They show up and always have a good opinion, or have something good to say. And we're generally respectful even when people disagree. So I think those things are going well.
Great. Erica Fuller.
All right. Well, y'all took all mine. So
Okay, you can emphasize things that are already up here.
awesome, cool. So like Superintendent Owens was saying, that I really enjoy the members and the board, and how we have a just a lot of experience and viewpoints across the board, learning from each other and using that to help impact the students. It's just a beautiful sight to see. And then I also really like how currently we are making sure that the important topics get moved to the right places on the agenda or in the meeting as well too. So working together to make sure that we are getting things covered where they need to be.
Great. Okay. Anything missing? We're feeling good about this. This was a really good round. This is really good stuff here. I would say that this is higher order board work, that you're not just in the nuts and bolts of how a board works. You're talking more about how do we have impact? How do we, have a broader impact? It's really good stuff. Okay. Oh no, don't do that. I don't want to edit it. I want to move to the next one. How could your meetings be better? Okay. And we'll keep on this. You guys are you're super productive in this format. So we'll just get 2 responses and then we'll emphasize as we go along. Okay. 2-minute timer starting now. Okay, we have just 1 minute remaining. seconds. Let's get those last thoughts down. Right, time's up. And I'm going to change order and I'm going to start with Erica Fuller.
All right. So I think that by having an operating agreement, it's going to help us be able to follow and agree to those options that we have put down, that we've all agreed upon, to, you know, give us that good reminder of how we're going to operate as a functioning board, basically. I think that's going to help us tremendously. And then I was also thinking that I think our meetings would be better if we could have more student input, like figuring out how we can do that and really figuring out how we can use our relationships with the students who are the stakeholders of everything that we do. How we can work together to solve these solutions, that we just don't have to be like a hovering board and do this alone. That if we reach out to them, they might have more solutions than we think. So, yeah.
Thank you, Erica. Yeah, you bet. Okay, David Lynn, you're next.
Thank you. Yeah, and I was going to emphasize student input as well as community input. Again, getting that meaningful participation where we can change a policy or direction of something based on some really good comments from people. And maybe, I mean, this is just kind of aspirational and it's not on staff at all, but maybe if presentations could be as direct as possible, you know, with the information distilled in the best way to quickly get through the presentations so that they don't end up pushing the limit on the meeting time at the end. So that there's just plenty of time for conversation. Because sometimes I've found, even like when we're all agreeing on most of the agenda topics and there's no discussion at all, we're still sometimes pushing up against the end. So I can't imagine if there was, you know, a long discussion or disagreement to be had.
Great, thank you, David. All right, Superintendent Owens.
Yeah, I would agree with what David said as far as having shorter, more concise reports. It would be nice if COVID would go away. That might lend to some of that, but you know, I notice that sometimes my report alone can go over an hour. We schedule to have board meetings once a month and a work session once a month, but I don't know that we've had a work session. We've had 2 board meetings a month all year. So to be able to have true work sessions, I think would be valuable. And then the other thing I would just say is, and I think that this is just a factor of circumstance, so it isn't a blame thing, it just is just consistency in terms of the board leadership and the administration in terms of being able to work together to set whatever the agenda is going to be.
Yep. Sounds good. Pam Shields.
What could be better is that everyone is attending all of the meetings and be on time. when we're all here, hearing the same thing at the same time, it better facilitates making decisions. We're not working from some of us having some information, others of us not having the information. So that's going to be important. I also wrote down board meetings versus work sessions. It's been an established process that the first meeting of the month is a board meeting. Second meeting of the month, when we have them, have typically been work sessions when we could do them. That's where you really get to chew on something. The administration, executive cabinet members can come and talk to us about something in greater detail, allowing us to have that discussion. We don't have to have reports from anybody. We don't have to have public input during those work sessions. It allows us to do the work that we need to do. But it's hard to structure work sessions when there's what I've termed, the tyranny of the immediate, which has been a lot of what the past year, 2 years of COVID has created in our, in all schools, that we are just always in a reactionary mode rather than being able to reflect. If we get past this COVID, then I would hope that we will get back to work sessions where we'll have that time for reflection, so that decisions can be made in the board meetings that will be show a demonstration of all of that work that we had done.
I'm going to steal that turn of phrase, tyranny of the immediate. Yeah, that is plaguing many boards right now. Rose, what needs to be up here?
I don't have a ton to add. I would maybe say facilitation, improved facilitation. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to go? I don't know if you want me to go.
Sure, no,
into
you
that.
can go into detail on improved facilitation, but all right, any other things? Anything you want to emphasize that's already up here?
Yeah, all of it.
Okay.
No, I do think, I mean, looking at each of these things, I definitely see merit in each of them. I would maybe say student input, I agree, would like to see more of.
Okay. Can I put student representative on here? I mean, board members have mentioned student input like multiple times now. Is that something that you think would be useful?
I think we
Yeah,
have a
Pam.
student.
Do you have a student rep?
We have a student rep, and here's the challenge with a student rep. Some of them are very well prepared, and we've had an excellent student representation of what's going on, especially at the high school. And then we've had others who maybe haven't been trained as well as what that role could entail. But when I seek student input on how it could be better, I get a little, I'll just say it, I'll just roll my eyes, because the students without topic that they can, give us information on turns out to be rambling. And I've been on the board for 10 years. I don't mind listening to students, but I do mind listening to just kind of the rambling that happens. We've had really excellent examples of students who have seen an issue, seen a problem, wanted to see a change, and have come to us requesting those that we get informed and use the process of working with the board to have something happen differently. And I'll say specifically when they asked for open campus. And I know several of us were there when we had to go through that. And we had to reflect on what had happened when we had students who were killed. in a car accident in a previous time. But when those students came to us with that issue and we asked them to, figure out a way that we could trust that would, be something that would be beneficial, they came up with some really excellent ideas. So student input that is focused, I think is very important. But students, just listen to students. I guess I'm not quite sure how to, say that, but I do appreciate it when we are chewing on a problem that may be occurring together, but not just, I want Snicker bars in the, in the student store, right? If you can see the difference between those two.
Pam, thank you for your candor, and I captured those two, that is two tiles here. Student input that is focused on the work and role of the board. That's actually something that you can do, and it's something that you're working on. And students are prepared to engage in the work of the board. So that can be done. That's a legitimate input for sure. Thank you for that. Claudia, what needs to be up here?
My very top one is have the meetings in person. I just have to reflect on myself personally that I am somewhat less engaged when the meeting is remote or Zoom. I have Zoom fatigue, no doubt about it. And secondly, I'd like to say stay away from operational items, operational topics. In part, I think we get mired in operational topics occasionally because we're in this tyranny of the immediate, and it's really hard when we're dealing with urgent issues to tease out what's really important for the board to engage in and what's not, what the administration can handle, right? So anyway, those are two things.
Thank you, Claudia. And Jess, what do you have? What do you want to emphasize? What's missing?
That's a good list. More student input, but I do appreciate the focused on the work role of the board, but having the students be engaged and involved in it. Consistency in board leadership would be great, and everyone attends and is on time. I second that one, third that one, whatever it is. And I think and board members have equal information. We should all be sitting on the same platform with, we should all have the same information provided to us.
And that emerged from, being present. You have to be at the meeting to get the information. So that's how that emerged. But yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, last call. Anything that needs to go up here? It's on your list that is missing. It's got to be up here. Hearing none, we're going to move on. And we are not going to take 5 minutes to reflect on the role of the board. You know what the role of the board is. We're going to take 2. We're going to go really quick. Okay, 2 minutes. What's the role of your board? minute remaining. Okay, jotting down those last thoughts, 20 seconds. Right, time's up. Erica, what is the role of the board?
So we are 7 public elected officials from the community who were elected, and we are there to represent the district at the district board level, as well as make sure that we have the main responsibility of setting the district's mission, visions, and priorities.
That long. Great, thank you. David Lynn. Role of the board. It doesn't have to be comprehensive. Just a few key things. You just want to capture it from this board's point of view.
Yeah, help the administration hear from the community and help them run an efficient school district.
So I heard support administration, hear from community. And what was that last bit? I'm sorry.
And help them run efficiently.
Great. Okay. Superintendent Owens, what's the role of the board?
Set policy.
Great.
Establish the budget.
With the third big one.
Well, I guess I'm struggling with the role of the board and balanced with what would be effective. Like, for example, I'm thinking, speak with one voice, or, that's acting as one body that supports the decisions that are made, but those are more maybe characteristics of doing it effectively rather than what the role is.
I'm capturing speak with one board voice. That's crucially important. Okay, I want to keep moving. I'm feeling the press of time, so I'm going to move fairly quickly here. Pam, what do you have?
As a former board chair and working with my vice chair, we often would go through, and I'm going to give you BBA, board powers and duties. If it didn't fit under those categories, it shouldn't be on the agenda. And there were times where we had to make those kind of tough calls because there are things that our people are passionate about. But legislative and rulemaking authority, judicial authority, and executive and administrative authority. Those are the 3 buckets. If it doesn't fit in those 3 buckets, then even though it could be a passion of mine, it may not be something that I should be asking the board to be working on because it doesn't fit within our responsibilities. So I had to read it a lot to be reminded on occasion.
Good one to refresh on. Absolutely. Rose, role of the board.
Everything I have to say would be redundant at this point.
Okay. Claudia, are we missing anything?
I have a couple of things. One is add where you've got hire the superintendent, also fire and evaluate. And then setting the tone at the top.
Board culture. Yes, indeed. Jess, what's missing?
I'm sorry, this sounds kind of like a mission statement. To provide an environment that leads to a positive future for the students in our community. Sorry, it's kind of long.
Oh, it's a statement of responsibility.
The way I see it is
true.
all those other items are how we do it, but that's
Right.
what we want to do.
But yes, the board is responsible for student outcomes. The buck stops with the board. Yes. Okay, is there anything on anyone's list that is missing? Is there anything we want asterisks behind? Great. Okay, we're moving fast to it now. Okay, so let's shift our attention to board leadership. So we were talking about the whole board. Now we're talking about board leadership. So this is the chair and vice chair. So what is the role of board leadership? And what should members expect? And what should the superintendent expect from the chair and vice chair? I'm going to put another 2 minutes on the board. Jot some things down for me. Okay, 1 minute remaining. Any seconds, get those final thoughts down. Time's up. I'm going to switch order again, and let's see. We'll start in the middle. Let's start with Pam Shields.
I've got keep all members informed. Between meetings.
Yep.
Things just come up between meetings that board members need to be informed about. Organize effective agendas, trying to figure out the priorities as best you can, knowing that we are in a shifting environment. Let's see. And making sure that board members are aware of all their duties and responsibilities outside of attending the 2 meetings that we attend to. Budget hearings, for example, come to mind. Sometimes the calendar gets so full, we're not quite sure where we need to be, when we need to be. just making sure that you're herding cats sometimes because we're all such busy people. Reminders are very helpful.
I put the herding cats down. True. Okay, I'm going to change direction. I'm going to go to David Lynn.
Yeah, I wrote down clear communication with the other board members, including the full board in important decisions. And the board meetings and agendas should be conducted in an open and transparent way, particularly if sometimes there's, say, executive meetings, session items that might need to be discussed in public. So yeah, that's what I had written down.
Okay, I'm sorry, I was mistyped and I lost your last point there. State it again.
Yeah, making sure that public issues are handled in public, that we don't let anything sneak into executive sessions that shouldn't be there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Erica Fuller.
All right. One, to help facilitate and keep the meetings on track. The other one is, and this is a hard one, but this is something that I have had to deal with and do on a very major basis, but we should be ready and remind ourselves, board members should expect that we will get negative or good press. We are in very tumultuous times and it can go either way. So just make sure that you are, of course, taking care of yourself. Self-care is key, but folks do have access to our addresses and different things. So making sure to just, be ready for people to not, especially folks that are in the community that are not going to agree with everything that you say. But it's going to be tough, but that's the reality of our choice that we chose as an elected official today. So
Definitely. All right, and then I'm going to come up to Jess.
I had run meetings efficiently. Ensure time-sensitive topics are on the agenda and addressed. And then in regards to the superintendent, providing information to and from the superintendent outside those meeting times. They're the one voice of all of us as far as communicating to James.
Okay. Claudia.
Mine piggybacks on Jess's second one. So spokesperson to the board, but also screen board member requests for information, screen and approve board member requests for information from the staff, basically to prevent 15-hour days for staff members. We shouldn't be adding to the burden that's already there with those folks. And others that I had on my list have already been mentioned. Thank you.
Great. Okay, Rose.
In addition to what's there, I would add building relationships with individual board members, checking in with folks on a regular basis, communication.
Actually, it's all three. Yeah, board chair is going to be, of course, you have that close relationship with the superintendent, and of course, you're also engaging the public. Yeah, definitely. Anything else? Great, good work. Okay. What is the role of the superintendent? What should board members expect? What should board leadership expect? Okay, and I'm going to put another 2 minutes up, starting now. Right, coming up on time, about 20 seconds remaining. Okay. And I think it started with Pam last time, so we'll do that again.
Okay, effective operation of the district. Being the face of the district publicly. And hires a cabinet that will create a balanced team of skills, which, by the way, I think you really did a great job of that. And the people that you have pulled together for the cabinet that represents the district. So, but you have to keep up that good work.
Pam, David.
Yeah, I wrote down some of the things board members should expect, clear, accurate information, as timely as possible. And yeah, and just building a relationship with the board, where the board trusts the information they're getting from the superintendent. They trust the superintendent as a conduit to the district and what's going on.
I captured that as seeks a trusting relationship with the board. Yeah, I agree. Anything else there, David?
No, that was all.
Okay, Erica.
All right. The role of the superintendent is to make sure that the school operation runs as smoothly as possible, to create a welcoming work environment for all staff and a fantastic learning environment for students.
Yeah, sure. Let me get rid of these. Don't need these up here. Anything else there? You muted, so that I'm taking that as a no. So
Oh, no, I'm
Jess,
good.
if something comes up, you'll get the catch-all at the end. Jess?
I would asterisk that one that Erica just stated. Keeping the board updated. I would do an asterisk with effective operations of the district and represents the district. I mean, James is the face of it. And then providing all perspectives and impacts on topics in the district. And
Been reading policy BG, I can tell.
I think that's it.
Great. Claudia?
Advancing strategic initiatives and effective peer collaboration. What's going on in other districts? We expect that to come from the superintendent.
Great, good perspective. Wonderful. Rose, what do you have?
I have also, let's see here, clear communication and transparency. Trying to think of how to say this. Someone's got to make the hard decisions and be prepared to act in crisis or in a power of, or in a position of authority. And building trust amongst the community in the schools in the district.
I'm completely failing to spell crises. In crisis, there. What was that last bit about the public?
Building trust in the community, amongst the community in our schools and districts.
Great. Anything missing here on role of the superintendent? Oh, I'm sorry, James. I'm jumped over you. I apologize.
It's okay. Yeah, I would say just bring recommendations forward on topics involving board approval. I don't know if that's worded the best.
Yeah, no, that's
work, and I think this is kind of related to what Claudia said, but work with the board to develop a clear vision for the district.
I know I have vision here somewhere. Well, that's okay. Work. Someone's dog likes clear visions for the district. That's a good thing.
And
All
then,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to add develop and maintain respectful and professional relationships with board members.
Members. Got it. Okay, last call on this one. Anything missing? Okay. I'm going to skip communication because you guys have been talking about communication all night. I have one for communication, but I don't think we need to address it. I think I'm pretty clear about what your expectations are. This is the catch-all. what is missing? What haven't we covered that needs to be in your operating agreement? And I know it's late and you're all getting a little glassy eyed.
This is Claudia. I'm going to just say, I think we have really covered it. I'm really proud of how everyone has really leaned in and come up with some really great information. So I don't have anything to add.
Okay. Well, if you think of anything in the next couple days, feel free to email me whatever thoughts come up. I can go ahead, I'll work on this next week, but I just want to say it has been an honor to go through this process with you. I think Claudia was exactly right. Everyone on the call tonight really leaned into this exercise, was very authentic and forthright in their responses. And I just really appreciated how board members worked off of each other. It's clearly a strong team and just really impressive work. So I just thank you so much for this. So where do we go from here? It's like, okay, we did all this stuff. What the heck do we do? What are we going to do with it? So what I'm going to do is take all this raw material. I can actually show it to you. I mean, it'll kind of blow your mind when you look at it in some, but this is the work that you did tonight. You created a huge, oh, I'm sorry, you can't see that there. So, I mean, you created a huge amount of content tonight. And so what I will do is I will take all this raw material and synthesize it together and create a series of statements. I'm not sure how I'll organize it. You know, each operating agreement is a little bit different, but I'll synthesize this into a series of statements, and then I will bring it back for the board to review, and you can amend it. You know, it's your document, so it needs to be a true and authentic to this team. So I think Rose and I chatted on a call a couple days ago, and I think we were looking at April 20th as a date that I'll be coming back. Pam, Jordan.
I wanted to throw out the possibility of people picking a date before this call ends. The 20th doesn't work for some folks. Okay. And I'm sorry, Rose, I didn't let you know that. I thought it might be best, since everyone is here except for Heath, if y'all pick a date now, so we can get it on the calendar, get it out. It's just a suggestion. This is your meeting, but I thought I'd throw that idea out there.
And Vince, one other thing, and this is, I hate doing this because it's going back to the work that we were just doing, and I know that just kind of the direction that we've kind of closed the book on that, but one thing that's really important in terms of our district, the discussions we've had over the years and the foundation of our strategic plan that I didn't hear come up, and I was just reflecting back on notes I took in advance of this meeting, was our district equity lens. And I think that would be a important component to see reflected in such a document. And so what I'd written in my note was the willingness to study and evaluate educational issues affecting the school district in connection with the district equity lens. So I just didn't want to leave the meeting without offering that piece.
Thank you for that. I'm capturing it right now.
Thanks.
Yep. No, that's crucially important. And I'm going to mention the strategic plan as well.
To Pam's comment, could we just get a doodle poll out of potential dates and then find out which date meets and matches? because first, it's just impossible to do calendars in a group like this. And so, and Vince, we have to have you available. So it starts with your schedule. And so from there, but if a doodle poll or whatever polling mechanism you can come up with, Pam Jordan, help us figure out a good day.
I can do that. Yes.
That'll be good.
So regardless of the date, you know, we'll be meeting again and I will be bringing a document back. You will get to see the raw material and how it's organized. And then, and you'll get to see the document. You'll have an opportunity to react to that document. You'll be able to decide whether you want to go ahead and just take that and revise it yourselves, or if there are some really substantive changes that you want done, and then I can take it back and do that for all y'all. Also in that meeting we will be orienting to the board self-assessment. And so we have not scheduled when the board will be taking that survey or when I'll be coming back to debrief that, you know, so we're talking about June, but potentially even in the summer. So depending on what the priorities of the board and the work of the board, goodness knows it is a dynamic time right now. So I just want to be really cognizant of the workload. I am 5 minutes over time and I apologize. Just immensely thankful for the hard work of the board tonight. This was really tremendous. So thank you so much. And I will get to work on this and get it in your hands as quickly as I can. So I yield back to the chair.
Thank you. Any additional business items? Not hearing any. There being no further business, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.